Welcome back everyone to more of our gameplay series of X4 Foundations. And for the very first time, we are docked at our HQ. So let's actually hop into the map itself. I'll scroll out a little bit and you can see here we are in Silent Witness, just outside the superhighway. We hop right over to the accelerator and we can be at the HQ. Not too bad. So my plan is to use this entire sector and perhaps the sector over as well for any stations that we plan on building, maybe a few out here in the main Silent Witness 1 area. But that is the plan. You can see we do have one neighbor over here. The SCA is working on some illegal goods. Not illegal in this sector necessarily, but illegal in a lot of places on the map. But other than that, it's just us out here. And as you look around, this is not necessarily the best dock we've ever seen. This is the most basic dock that you can have. And this is the one we started off with by default when we set up our starting conditions for our custom start. So yeah, the barbed wire, the really rundown look. Definitely not what you're looking for from a dock compared to some of the better options such as the luxury dock that we've seen, or the Terran version of a dock, which is absolutely amazing compared to this. So let's talk a little bit about where we are and what we're going to do in today's video. So at the top left hand corner of the screen, we're at 22.5 million credits now. So yes, things have been going well. Now I haven't done anything special other than essentially let time pass once we have gotten our ships built. So we still have 4 miners for Navidium, and again, that's not going to go away anytime soon because of the mod that I have that is keeping the economy overall up and running. So I'm going to leave a few ships out there mining and selling Navidium. It'll be a nice side income for us, but what I really want to focus on is mining the other resources, and then of course ultimately trading and then building our own stations for production. But we have 4 miners for silicone, 4 for hydrogen now, and then we have a total of 10, although it looks like somebody's in trouble here. We have a total of 10 traders, and they have done exactly what I wanted them to do. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. Then we also have 4 ore miners. So I'm going to continue to expand on these. 4 is certainly not all I want to have, but it's a very good start. So let's take a quick look at where we are as a player in our relations with the other factions. At the top of the screen, Antigone Republic. This is where we're buying our ships. We're at a +8 with them. Not too bad. Argon, +7. Again, not too bad. HOP is a 2. Hatikva is a 5. But then if we scroll down a little bit more, the Cigaris Pioneers, we're at a +11. So needless to say, all of that mining has really worked. We're at a +11. The Terran Protectorate at a +5, so not too bad. We haven't done a lot of trading with them, obviously, compared to the Pioneers, but it's still moving along quite nicely. Then we move on to Teladi at a +10. That means with the Pioneers and Teladi, we need to go and get a promotion since we have now reached the +10. But we'll take care of that in a later video. But today, we're going to get back to what I will label as the main story mission. Now, X4 isn't really a game that has a main story mission per se. There's a lot of offshoots and a lot of different things you can do. But I am going to call this the main story mission. So let's actually come into the mission manager. Please give them to a registered charity. We have a couple of options here. So we've got Bosa Ta wants us to check out a strange ship, which is right over in this area where you see the exclamation point there. She wants, or excuse me, he, there I go again with the she. He wants us to check out an unidentified ship that is in the area. In fact, that's the same ship. If we come back out, and here in just a moment, you'll see a burst that'll fly through. There it goes right there. That's coming from the unidentified ship. So Bosa Ta wants us to go check that out. So we'll do that here in just a moment. And then the other option is, oops, wrong one. And then we have teleportation. So this gets into our research. And for this, if we hop over to the research tab, you can see if we want to start research, and then of course we're going to start with teleportation. In fact, that's the biggest one I actually care about. Not so much the hacks. They're definitely nice to have, but I prefer actually just buying them. It just stealing the modules, the blueprints, just isn't really the play style I prefer, but it's certainly a lot cheaper. That's for sure. So you can see that it's going to take 10 minutes, but we got to get some resources here. And before we can do resources, we are going to need some storage. So we have our HQ, it's up and running with a dock, but it doesn't have any storage for the items we're going to need to research all of these different items along the way. So we're going to need to build that. And in order to do that, let's actually come back for just a second. And we're going to hop into, let's actually go up to the top here. And I'm going to click on the HQ, and then I'm going to right click and do a plan build. All right, so as far as like what do we need? Well, we're going to need some storage, and who knows what we might need beyond that later on. But for right now, it's about storage. All right, I believe that's our docking module, or is it? Where is the docking module? There it is, right over here. All right, so it's on this side, which is good because it gives you plenty of room over here in the grand scheme of things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look. So we've got docking modules, and that's it. Okay, other than the venture modules. So before we can do anything with this, we need to buy some modules. That's why I haven't done anything with it up until this point. And modules, in this case, aren't going to be all that expensive, but as we get farther into the game, they get more and more expensive, and to the point where we are paying hundreds of millions of credits for these things. So that's why I have not done anything with this just yet. So we can't do the teleportation until we get busy with these modules. So we'll take care of that in a future video. So for today, we're going to hop back in, and we're going to do the cease and desist, set that to active. And now Bosa Ta wants us to go check out this particular area and find that undisclosed ship. So let's go ahead and hop aboard our ship.
Rapier.
All right, so we're actually going to take over right now. I prefer to let the pilot do as much of the flying as possible because they are, despite all of their issues with the AI and their flying, they are still much better at this than I am. All right, so again, you see these strange waves and pulses coming out. That's coming from this unidentified ship. All right, so there
Empty space.
There's the area it's coming from. All right, so let's go ahead and put this thing in motion. Once we get up to speed, I'll hit the travel drive. There we go. So let's hit the travel drive. It will not take long in the Rapier as it goes over 5 grand in meters per second. You can see we're over 6 grand now. All right, what just happened? Where did my... Oh, we flew through it. Wow, we got there really quick. All right, so let's turn around. I wasn't even paying all that much attention because I was under the impression that it was going to take a little while. All right, so I'm trying to sort of look around here as we get close. I'm trying to find this ship. Now, I actually have done this part in the game before. So this part is not new to me, but I haven't gone very far beyond this. I'll let you guys know when I get to an area of the, again, what I'm going to call the main story mission. Oh, I see a ship right up there. That's where we want to go, right there. Now, I don't know how far away that is, but they are definitely causing a disturbance. I have to agree with Bosa Ta there. All right, let's go ahead and...
Okinawa.
There
Research.
we go. All right, so it's a research vessel. That gives us a clue. Now, this is where I'm going to give you guys a quick synopsis of sort of how we got here. So we did skip by the early parts of again, what I'm going to call the main story mission. And essentially what happened, if you start in one of the Terran factions, then what happens is, or particularly as the scientist, then you're going to be working on this particular station, and then you're going to get essentially sucked away into a different area of the map, and that's sort of how the game gets you started. Now, the base game operates a little bit different than that with the main story mission without the DLCs, but that's essentially what happens. This is your supervisor. So he has made a return. So let's go ahead and we're not going to dock. We're actually going to calm this particular ship. Where are we here? There we go. If this zoom would work with me. All right, so we're actually going to calm the ship.
Channel open.
All right, so we want to talk to who's in charge.
One moment, please.
I am Dr. Rick Feynman.
There's my man, Richard Feynman, who is not as nice of a character as you might think in the game. Okay.
We are currently lacking antimatter cells to complete our observations. If you can organize a delivery to this vessel, we'll be able to greatly advance our timetable.
It appears that they are researching the same anomaly which brought the station over here. Most of the gravimetric charge dispersed during that event, but they brought quite an array of equipment to examine the traces. Let us hope that this satisfies their curiosity and leads to their departure.
All right, there we go. So it skips through some of the dialogue. Again, if you take the full journey through without skipping it as we have here, then Feynman talks about how he thought you were dead, and then basically isn't all that pleasant with you. But right now, he wants 10 units of antimatter cells brought, and so we'll dock there and deliver those. So let's go ahead and find those 10, their cells, right? Antimatter cells. All right, so we're going to pull up our trade menu, and let's go to container, and we're going to filter that to antimatter cells. So you can see we've got cells and converters. That's why I wanted to make sure it was the cells that we were looking for. And I'm going to scroll out slowly and see if we find any. There we go. Sold. All right, so where are these? All right, there we go. So there's plenty of those over there. Now, granted, we're not terribly worried. All right, let's start the guidance to this particular object. And I'm actually going to handle the flying here. So this ought to be
Accelerator.
quite interesting.
Silent witness. 1.
Given my piloting skills, so maybe this will give me an opportunity to practice a little bit. So we've got a little bit of a journey ahead. Again, this is an out-of-the-way sector that my plan is to make our own. We've got a few visitors along the way with essentially some what amounts to illegal activity going on in the sector, but our plan is to make this our own. And this should also help with the CPU usage a little bit, because when you're in system with a lot of activity, then essentially the game is trying to reproduce that a little bit more accurately than if you're not in the same system. If you're not in the same system, it takes a few more liberties with the game itself and the simulation. So we're trying to take advantage of that, at least a little bit. All right, so we're going to try to fly right through here at 6,500.
Entering silent witness.
All right, and
1.
good luck for us. I mean, we're basically straight in line with this. Now, we are going quite fast. I'm going to try to time this, and hopefully we don't hit any asteroids along the way. That would be most unenjoyable. All right, there we go. About 100, a little bit less kilometers away. And that thing is coming up quick. So I'm going to try to slow this thing down. And okay, so I slowed it down too quick. But again, you can see there's so much simulation going on as these asteroids are not just static. They're not just sitting there. All right, the brakes on this thing work pretty good. All right.
Docking granted.
All right, so let's go ahead and dock here. Now that we've gotten the thing slowed down, I'm always in awe. Before we dock, just look at the sheer scale of these stations. I mean, these are pretty small stations. The AI build, for the most part, fairly small stations, but we don't plan to do that. We plan on building some bigger stations where we do a whole lot more. All right, let's see if we can get this thing done. Oof, this thing is so... Are you going to let me get by with that? No, not quite.
Please halt. We will be scanning your inventory.
All right, you can scan it while I am docked. That's all I can tell you.
Successfully docked.
All clear. You can be on your way.
Well, that is so nice of you. All right, let's go ahead and get the 10. All right, so let's wait for the trade to finish. And so, yes, you can do trading manually in this game. Now, it can be a lot of fun, for sure, and it's certainly one of the many, many options you have available in the game for a play style.
Accelerator. Silent witness.
All right, let's go ahead and get this bad boy up and rolling. And let's see what Mr. Feynman wants to do from here. I'm telling you, these controls are so sensitive in the Rapier. It is so maneuverable and light. So if this works the same way it did on the way out, then we should be able to, without even slowing down, we should be able to hit that jump gate or accelerator and run straight through back to Mr. Feynman. Now, for those of you who might not be aware, Feynman is a real-life scientist. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but a very famous scientist, and I am very happy they chose to use his name in the game. It just makes me
silent witness.
Just makes
11.
me happy that they decided to do that.
Okinawa research.
Now, unfortunately, his personality in the game it leaves a lot to be desired. All right, once again, I'm going to try to time this to slow down so that we are able to get fairly close without flying way past where we need to be. Keep in mind, normally when I am traveling in one of these ships, I am going about half that speed, somewhere in the 3,000 to 3,500 range. So you can see we're slowing down for sure, but we're not slowing down all that fast. All right, so let's see, how close can I get? Ooh, that was not good at all. I am at full brake mode here, full reverse, and it just did not work. Okay, well, how far did we go? Only 6 kilometers? That's not too bad, is it?
Let's see what you have for me today.
All right, nope. You're not going to be doing that. At least I hope you're not.
You have some interesting cargo there. Dump the cargo.
Docking granted.
Go ahead and attack if you want to risk getting more than you bargained for. But I'm hoping they don't, because I have basically no way of helping myself here. I can't defend myself, not in this thing. So I'm hoping they just back off. That's the goal. All right, let's see if we can get... Yeah, there we go. We got close enough for it to trigger the landing. I still need to do some upgrades to this thing
Successfully docked.
so that it makes it a little bit easier. All right, so let's go ahead and do our trade. And as soon as that gets completed... All right. He should ask us to come aboard. So let's give that a minute. All right, let's go ahead and get up and see if that...
Our research team thanks you for your cooperation.
Yeah, there we go.
We need your help in putting this antimatter to good use. We will need ships at the specified locations to initiate a synchronized long-range scan. We will be enlisting, but if you have any friends who could join us, now would be a good time to ask them along.
All right, so now if we hop back out to the map, so here's what he wants to do. Let's go ahead and hide a few of these things so we can see. What he wants us to do is position, of course, our ship will be one of these, and then we'll have two other ships there. We're going to do a long range scan, and that should take care of this portion of the mission. But as you can see, we don't really have any ships available. Everything that we have is doing other stuff, and I am not about to pull them off of their work, making us money and building our empire in order to do his silly work. And by the way, I think that was the pillager that was just talking to us and trying to get us to drop our cargo. And yeah, that's our goal would have been to try to outrun that thing. Of course, since we were so close to the HQ, getting back to the HQ would have been job number one. But if not, we would have been trying to get out of sector. And later on in the game, we would be looking to have total destruction of that pillager. All right, so that is going to be the end right now for this particular quest. So that's sort of how the story mission is playing along. He's going to need us to do some things, and then of course it's not going to end there. Once we do that, he's going to want to do some other activities that we will continue on with in future videos. But for today, let's take a look at where we are and what we want to do next. So we're going to need to purchase some blueprints, and we're also going to need to, by virtue of our plus 10 or better status, we're going to need to get some promotions. So let's actually head over to Teladi space and let's get that promotion. I'll see you guys there. We are nearly at our destination, but this is one of those places that the first time I saw this place, I thought this is my absolute favorite location, and I want very much to build a station like this. This is where we are headed. We are in Teladi space, and we are headed to get our promotion for reaching plus 10 on our reputation. But this is simply a magnificent structure, and it gets even better when you get to dock inside of it. Now, it also gives you an opportunity to see exactly how the AI fly and attempt to dock. So you can see we just flew right through that building because of course we did. Now there are all sorts of issues over in this particular sector. I mean, you can see we've got accelerators, we've got jump gates, and those generally do not work out well because Xenon will be parked out here in no time. We're still very early in the game. I'm still a little surprised not to see some Xenon. Let's see, what are we doing here? Are we just chilling out? Because, I mean, what we need to do is turn around and go right through the cylinder into the docking, but it appears as though we're sightseeing right now. Again, just the AI being the AI. So I'm not sure if maybe they're waiting for a trigger or if I'm going to have to do this myself. But so far, we're doing great. I mean, we're just going to sit here. I mean, I agree. It is a beautiful view for sure. I mean, very nice station out here, but it would be so nice if they would, you know, just, oh, that's right. Actually, park.
Hello
just
there.
Go ahead and dock. Yeah, just if you got a chance. Wow. But you can see, I mean, just they've got the cylinder here. I mean, we're rotating. It's giving the artificial gravity. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I absolutely love this place. And then, of course, you get to fly in here looking like Star Wars and stuff. It's great. Love this station. Again, why can't I have one? Maybe there is a way I can have one. I just don't know about it.
Teladi trading station.
All right, so this is one of our traders. So everybody wave and say hi on the way by. Appreciate you out here doing work. I like it. All right, so
Docking aborted. Docking granted.
all right, so where are we going? Because you can see I mean, we're 360 degrees here. Where are we going? You want me to go right here? Okay, good. Because I was so confused as to where we were going. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. All right. Oof. What in the world is happening here? Okay. Yeah, we're doing great, though. We're absolutely doing amazingly well. All right. Boom. Right there. Bring it down. Oh, yeah, that was so... Did we actually dock? Or are they playing games?
Successfully
Okay,
docked.
good. We're up. Yeah, smooth as
We're
silk right
pleased.
there.
Greetings, pilot. I represent the well-respected Teladi Trade Guild, and I have a lucrative proposition for you. If you're interested, come find me.
All right, so this is another set of missions that you can unlock in the game. Some of the factions will offer you trade guild opportunities. Teladi, of course, being the most famous of those, since that's what their race does. I mean, they're all about the profits. All right, so let's come back out for just a second because there's something I want to make sure I do. And I want to make sure that I get rid of that. Because the last thing I want to do is hop back on board and them try to dock again after we were sightseeing there for a little while. And then when we come back out, we will talk about those new ships that you guys might have just noticed have just been built. So let's go ahead and head over to the Trade Guild and see what this guy's got to say.
Animals will be vaporized on sight.
That's one of my favorite messages, by the way. Any stray animals will be vaporized on sight. So take care for your pets.
Pilot, it is good to see you. Our guild is currently seeking to increase our presence in the market. To retain our lead in the market, we're offering membership to a select number of trusted individuals. This is a one-time investment, after which you will have access to a number of job listings.
And there you have it. Now, we're going to ask him, what kind of jobs are you talking about?
As you can expect, most jobs will involve generating profit, but we also require combat pilots. We must protect our interests and seek out new opportunities. You can help us do that. What do you say to this generous offer? We would be happy for you to join us.
So there you have it. If you're looking for different ways to increase your reputation with a faction, well, here's one. You can trade with them, you can mine for them, but then you can do missions for them. So I'm going to go ahead and join, even though I'm not sure how many of these we will actually do.
Right away.
But we're going to go ahead. It's only 80,000 credits. It's not a huge deal.
The areas we operate. We expect good things from you.
And by the way, I would have loved to take this reticule off of his face while we were talking and put it, down here to the side. But unfortunately, the game froze it, and I could not do that. But I was trying. We used to be able to do that, but they have updated that to where we can no longer move that. All right, so the next place we need to go is over to the rep's office. So let's do that. Again, one of the things I really wish we had more of in X4 is a sense of scale on the stations. Now, when you're flying around them on the outside, sure, you can see how huge they are. But once you get inside, all we have are these really small corridors, with a few exceptions that we've seen, and you'll see on some of the Terran stations and stuff. There are a little bit better options, but I really wish we had much bigger stations and room to roam around so that you get a sense and a feel of just how big they are. I mean, look at this guy's view. He's going to see tons of ships. He's got all sorts of beautiful things to look at. And of course, their docking bay, a little bit better than ours at the HQ. All right, let's talk to our rep.
It's good to see you, friend.
All right, so here's where we can buy some blueprints, and later on we'll definitely be doing that, and we'll take a look at them here in just a moment. But right now we're here to receive our rank.
We've been watching your actions with great interest, and believe you are worth investing in. I'm pleased to present you with a new rank amongst our company. Of course, this rank comes with great benefits. These benefits are tied to the rank. So if you lose the rank, the benefits go too. But with your record and our trust, I'm sure we don't have to worry about that. I hope you find these rewards fitting to the work you've done. May they bring you profit. Once again, I give you thanks for your efforts. We look forward to continuing our partnership in the future. Good profit to you.
I love it. Absolutely love Teladi in this game. Everything they do is about profit, and it's amazing. All right, so now that we have received that honor, let's actually hop out here real quick, and you can see at plus 10, We are an honorary company shareholder, and we have access to multiple things, including the military equipment license. So that now we have options for some different turrets, as well as some different ships that are more for the military minded. So that is a huge upgrade. Now next, we'll be working toward this plus 20, which basically opens up everything that Teladi has. But now, let's actually talk to him and see the blueprints.
Friend.
Not all of these will be available to us just yet, but we can take a look. So we've got all these different modules. These are what we'll be using on our stations. Not necessarily the Teladi version of all of these, but this is what we're going to see from each of the factions. Most of the factions have a standard array of modules that they will offer. Some a little bit more limited than that. And of course, the Terran are in their own different world in how they do things with their economy. But we have production modules, all the parts and pieces that you will see that are being made, all the different stations and what they're making. There's the antimatter cells. So that one's actually one of the cheaper ones, only 500K for that one. But then you see some of these are over 20, almost 21 million, 12.5 million. So these are not cheap, at least not all of them. All right, so let's actually minimize that. And if we go to the build modules, this is where you can build your own ships. And then if you look at the fabrication bay for the small and medium ships, 116 million. So this gives you an idea of where we want to go in the future. And then of course you can see if you want to get into large ships, that's 243 million. And then if you want to go extra large and build your own of those, 247 million. So right there, you can see we're up over what, 700 million credits. Easy to get to that point, but that is a long-term goal that I have. So we're nowhere near having the income to support that, but one day we will. And it is very exciting because not only can we make our own ships, but we will be able to make ships for other factions, and that's where you can essentially start printing your own money. As long as you can keep enough resources in the wharf, then you can essentially print your own money, because credits will be coming in so quickly as the other races will start to use, particularly a couple of the warring factions such as the HOP will give you a lot of business, but that is what it's all about. Now, the reason I'm not going to try to stock up here for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm still in the process of spending nearly all of our money at this point on more ships, expanding to get more traders and more miners, but also I have several
Good profit to you.
blueprints already set up when we start building stations, and most of those do not use a lot from Teladi. It was just simply the way I did it at the time, not necessarily better or worse, but that is how we do business with Teladi. They are all about the profits, and I love it. Now, let's talk about, I mentioned, you might have noticed that there are 4 gas miners sitting out here. I actually queued those up just after I stopped the recording earlier and paused that. And the reason I did that is because, well, we're going to once again increase our fleet. Now, the first gas mining we're doing is the hydrogen. So let's actually hop out. We're going to turn our trade back on, our interface. We're going to have liquid up and running. And we're going to get all the way back over. Again, still trying to do some dedicated mining over here with the Terrans as well as the Pioneers. And if we zoom in here a little bit, what do we need? Well, we need methane, 29,000, helium, 13,000, 66,000 hydrogen. So I'm definitely going to want more hydrogen miners. But I'm trying to get a feel for what these guys need. There's a lot of helium needed there, hydrogen, but I think I'm going to go with methane right now. We'll come back to helium at a later time. So as you guys, as we go through these videos, keep an eye out for the different fleets, because I will be adding to these as we move along. And sometimes I will forget to mention them, as it might not be the main purpose of that particular video. But these are going to be methane miners. So let's go ahead and set that up, as we finalize today's video. And again, I'm going to set these up as defend the commander. All right, let's go ahead and do that. I need to remember to rename these as well. I forgot to rename the traders. You might notice up there, it's still using the default name. I like to name them. It's not necessary, obviously, for their function, but I like to name them because over the course of gameplay, you're going to lose some. Some of them are going to be destroyed by pirates. Some are going to be destroyed by the Xenon. Some of them are going to go into dangerous areas where there are clouds that are have poisonous gas in them or radiation. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head. And they're going to get destroyed that way because the AI, well, not always the smartest. So keep that in mind. You're going to lose some, and by numbering them, it helps me to keep track of how many are missing as time goes on and we continue adding more. All right, so we've got these guys added. Let's go ahead and I'm going to name this first one just so that I can remember. This is methane, or methane, if you so desire. All right, so random mine. We're going to set you to your home to be in Brennan's Triumph. Again, not going to make a huge difference overall here. The biggest difference is going to be down here when we set which factions they can trade with. All right, so we got the methane there. And so I'm going to turn them all off, including the player, because later on we'll need some dedicated miners of our own, but we'll simply do that at the appropriate time. All right, so there's the Terran, and there's the Cigaris Pioneer. So those are the only two left. But again, remember, and I'm going to continue to emphasize this for those of you who might not be familiar with X4 Foundations, having not played it or have not played it very much, I cannot, if I leave it on automatic and use a mod such as random mine or random trade, I cannot determine where they do the mining, but I can determine who they trade with. And that's how I do it here in this, and I highly recommend the random trade and the random mine mod. It has been a lifesaver to me. There are options, and I'll click on it right now so we can see these, but the local auto mine, advanced auto mine, and expert auto mine, those are in the game by default. And they do work for the most part, but my results went up exponentially when I started using the random mine. Same thing on the trading side of things with random trade. Now, there are a few more in here. The Station Mule mod I use, which has some wonderful options in here that we'll get into later on when we get into stations, building them and maintaining them. But these mods are lifesavers for me. Without them, I'm not sure I could get very far into the game before I would simply get so frustrated that I would have to stop playing. But let's make sure everybody is going. Okay, they've all undergone the swap from defense over to trader. So everything is up and running. Looks like they're all off to mine resources. There's one. I hate seeing that flee, because if they're not fast enough to outrun the attacking vessel, well, we're going to lose a ship. So that is not a wonderful thing that I like to see popping up, but it is part of the game and part of the fun sometimes too, because you can use that to your advantage if you're on the other side of things with certain factions or the pirates themselves. So there you have it. Today, we got back into the main story mission a little bit. Now we've got some work to do before we get back to it, but that is more of a long-term thing. I'm not terribly interested in rushing through that because our empire building is going along great. I'm going to continue adding to our fleets, or adding new fleets, I should say. That seems to be the best way it's working for me. We'll keep adding new fleets in all of these areas, keep compounding our income, and keep building that empire. That's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and stick around as we will continue our gameplay series of X4 Foundations.